Yes, you have heard that right. We're going to be talking about everything Dash. So let's waste no more time and get right in today's update. I had one of my followers leave a comment on my video. Hey, Crypto ZX, talk about Dash. Give your personal thoughts. So I was like, hey, let's talk about it and see what's really happening. So again, if you want to see other projects that you want me to cover, feel free to let me know in the comments, and I will try my absolute best to make that happen. But again, starting off a brand new month. And as of now, fingers crossed, the month is starting off on a really positive note. Obviously, we're entering the weekend. On the weekend, more manipulation than usual as CME futures are closed. But again, Dash is up 28% right now on the daily time frame. But again, focus on the weekly time frame, up 44.5%. So, what's really happening with Dash, especially when you look at it on a monthly time frame, that's where you really understand, this is something interesting because if you are looking at the monthly candle right now, the broader market is down tremendously. Of course, we know what happened last month, October 10th, major liquidation. And pretty much since then, we can clearly see how much altcoins have been impacted, but there's a few coins that are up quite a bit. And obviously, to list them, it's Dash, Zcash. Obviously, we know what's happening with Zcash, Tau, Virtual. But besides that, the broader market is down. So we're going to take a closer look and see, what's really happening. But before we do that, as always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So the price on Dash right now is at about $62. Again, up 30% in both Bitcoin and USD. Comparative valuation only, yes, that is correct, only at 773 million, and the 24-hour trading volume at about $330 million. So again, these are OG coins. If you know, you know. If you've been in the space for quite some time, you guys know these coins have existed for quite some time, including Zcash. No one could have imagined, Zcash to get to these crazy valuations. And now, people are starting to realize, hey, what could Dash be, the next one up? Are we really going to see altcoin season really starting? Because again, you're starting to see some of these OG coins, moving. Obviously, Zcash has that privacy aspect to it. And in a way, Dash does too. So that's where that narrative comparison comes into play. But again, in terms of valuation, it's only at 773 million, which again in this day and age is nothing. Yes, a few years back, shout out to the people that have been here from day one. Obviously, back then, this was crazy valuation, but at this point, it's currently ranked at the 126th spot, and yet it's up this much, and that should really give you a little bit of a better understanding. But let me just give you guys a little bit of a rundown on Zcash, because Zcash is what has gotten a lot of people talking, and obviously a lot of comparisons right now. When Dash people talk about Dash, people talk about the technical analysis aspect on it. All the comparisons are being made with Zcash, and Zcash is on an absolute tear, because you could see last bull market Zcash only came up to $372. That's it. Then we obviously came down to the bear market. But look at this major rally for a Zcash. Again, if you want to put this into perspective, literally so not, I wouldn't say last month, but on September, people had an opportunity to buy Zcash at 30 bucks. $30. And since then, this thing is up more than 10x, almost more than 10x. And what's crazy here for Zcash is the fact that it has broken out of the 2021 bull market top. Again, it's all-time high. If you want to talk about Zcash's all-time high, that was back in the day, in 2016 when it was launched. Let me show you guys, obviously, here. Let's see when it was recorded. So you could see October 29th, 2016 at $3,000 per coin for Zcash. But obviously that time, the supply I think was much, much lower as well. Much lower, I think the supply was at that point. But again, this specific run, there's no big, there's no big narrative. There's no big real reason for Zcash to be running this. It's speculation. Obviously, people getting excited about the privacy aspect to it. But now, people are wondering whether or not Dash is about to make a run the way Zcash has. Obviously, no one can really guarantee that. But again, if it does, and you have done your due diligence research, and maybe, you were like, I'm okay to, take the risk. again, that's where your due diligence comes into play. If that is the case, and let's say it does end up doing that, make sure you guys are locking in profits. And I could say that same with Zcash. I know a lot of people are mega bullish on Zcash. Pretty much everyone on crypto Twitter is talking about it, but that doesn't mean you don't want to be locking in profits. That does not mean, that should not be on the table. But again, with these coins, once you break up some of these resistance, there's not much resistance after left, for it to get to some of these crazy price action. But again, if you're looking at the dominance here, 59.93% starting off November. If you're looking at Bitcoin, Bitcoin is currently hovering in the 23.6 Fibonacci retracement level, as you can see for yourself. Again, this is where we really want to see the price of Bitcoin sitting at. You can see for yourself, again, it is bare minimum. But again, the fact that we are starting off in this zone, this is good to see. Obviously, we want to see Bitcoin get back above the confirmation, which is at 117. But again, at this point, Dash, Zcash are not really like, being impacted that much when it comes to, what's going on with the market momentum, whether, the market momentum is bullish or not. It doesn't really matter at this point because these coins are going crazy. So let's take a look at Dash. I'm going to pull out the chart for you guys. Which chart did I have pulled up? Let's take a look. There we are. So let's take a look at it. So for Dash, all-time high, you can see for yourself, all-time high for Dash was 8 years back on December 2017, which was obviously a big bull market, and it was $1,500 recorded. And again, I'm looking at Poloniex, and you can see, it's reflecting with the data that is on CoinGecko at almost the same price. But since then, again, nothing crazy ended up happening with Dash. It came up to 487. Back in the day, it was highly talked about. And again, going back to what I said about Zcash, circulation supply on Dash was much lower back then as well. Hence, you saw crazy price action. But again, we didn't even come close to it last time around. So again, if you want to just talk about just the 2021, top, which was again $476, from where we currently are, that itself is still a move of about 688%. So again, when it comes to speculating, we could talk about and make the comparison with Zcash, just in that, but could this really be a possibility? Could this really end up happening? That's what I'm going to share with you guys right now. So let's kind of zoom in now and really understand what's happening. And it's only good to take a look at it a weekly time frame right now to really give you guys a little bit of a better understanding as to what happened. So again, 2021 was, this price point that it reached at about $476. And after that, you could pretty much see the bear market started and it impacted everything, right? But look at this price action right here. So, once we drop below $79, you can see for yourself, we consolidated since 2022 May. We have not seen the price breaking above this key range since then. You can see, we came close to it in 23. We came close to it last year, when the broader market went crazy. You can see for yourself, we saw, Dash go up about 240%. And right now we're seeing a similar price action playing out. But just September 29th was when it was sitting literally at $20, and since then it's up 191%. Again, I think there are a lot of speculators that are speculating, and there could be some insiders that are wanting to get things rolling. Again, if we were to see an altcoin season, which I still think is a possibility, I think this is something that could end up happening based off of what has happened with Zcash. So again, in terms of an opportunity standpoint, there are opportunities in the market still, but obviously, the question now is, could this obviously last long? In my opinion, again, even if we were to see the upside, I don't think, me personally, I don't think this would last long. I think profit taking will happen and the prices will go back down. Again, this is my own personal opinion. I would love to be wrong. I'm just sharing my personal thoughts. I just don't see, a project that's pretty much sitting in the 100s now. Again, mid 100s, almost, it was at 200 before this major move. Again, you want to look into it closer and see, how much it is up. So it just makes no sense for this project to hold the ground. Maybe Zcash could, because it is truly a privacy coin, but for Dash, this is what I want you guys to focus on right now. Again, this is a long update. We're kind of might be all over the place, but I want you guys to look at this level here. So as of now, literally where the price of Dash is, breaking above this range could make it retest a level that we haven't seen since 2023. Let that sink in. And that itself, breaking above this key range, takes it back up to that key range. And that's about a 32% move from where we currently are. And that is a possibility. That's a level to be watching out for. Breaking above that key range could be very, very exciting for Dash. Reason why I say that is because I'm looking at the historic patterns and look at the volume spike. We have not seen this much volume even when it was reaching those crazy all-time highs. And even if you look at it from this perspective, nothing crazy happened in 2021 as well, but it reacted to the overall market, and you did see things, heat up. But again, nowhere near as to where it was back at the beginning of its existence. But again, like I said, circulation, supply is something we want to consider. But now if you're looking at it, like I said, breaking above and retesting a 2023 level that we haven't seen would be huge. So again, breaking above here could replicate what happened back. It's not that, this was its first run. Kind of, it's not that, this run back in 2021 was the first time Dash went up. You could see for yourself, this is something similar that ended up happening with Dash. As you could see for yourself, it started off at $65, broke above that key resistance. And again, that resistance, if you want to put it, it's almost at $80. Breaking above here, it went up to $475. Obviously, um, I'm not saying it's going to happen like straight in one line, but could that really end up, becoming a reality? And, could we really see Zcash type of move for Dash? Again, I'm not writing it off. I've been in this space for quite some time. A lot can happen much quicker than a lot of people are realizing if the dominance starts to show weakness, and specifically if the price of Dash is able to break above this key resistance at $80. I personally do believe it can retest a level we have not seen since March, obviously, of 2022, which is at $132. This is a long update, of course, but with that being said, make sure your exit strategies are in play. Obviously, there is a risk associated to it as well. There's no guarantee, but the fact that we're getting so close to this key resistance is, where the excitement is kind of coming on board. But again, let me know in the comments what your personal thoughts are, and also let me know what you think is going on with Dash and whether or not you think it could do what Zcash has done. Thanks for your support. If you appreciated this update, let me know in the comments. Smash that like button. We'll see you later in crypto, ZX and peace.